Hello, good afternoon, my beautiful friends and fellow seekers. Welcome to Coffee with the Council Reprise. Who's all here today? Happy Friday, happy Saturday, wherever you are in the world. Just was getting into the vibe, listening to one of my favorite IT tracks. Who do we have here today? Welcome, welcome. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Good to see you. How are you today, Debbie? Hello, Carrie. I was thinking of you this morning. Good to see you, my friend. Hey, Jojo, good morning. How are you feeling? Your sound isn't working. All right, hold on. Yeah. Okay, just one second. Testing, testing, testing. Cable output. Input. Testing. Hello, hello, hello. Anything yet? Something must have changed. What? Thumbs up? What? Okay, so weird. It had, okay, that was just so weird. It had the right choice. Could you have heard the music? Can you hear that? Here, let me turn this back on. Can you hear this music? Can you hear this music? I didn't have an update, but something changed. Now, can you hear it? Every once in a while, OBS throws me for a loop. Have everything selected properly, but I have to reselect it again. Anyways, hello, welcome, my dear friends and fellow seekers, now that more people have flowed in. Yes, Jack, I picked this thinking of you, like an English field, maybe? An English field of lavender or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, I love this background. A little too busy with the butterflies, but they are pretty. Yes, Tare Tutare. If you have never heard this track, this is one of my all-time favorite sung tracks from Insight Timer. That's the name of it. And the teacher is... well, his teacher name is Mindful Music. It's Gunther from Germany or from somewhere in Europe, I forget. Butterflies for Joanne. Yeah, that's true. We summoned butterflies for you yesterday too. I love lavender too. It's a beautiful smell. Well, now that we're all back in shape with the stream, he's in Austria. Okay. Hey, Elena, good to see you. Wow, it's been a while, dear. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Hey, Johnny, good to see you as well. You guys will notice that I'm framed a little bit differently. I've been noticing how close I feel to the camera, and I found a setting that sort of widens it up a little bit more spacious, so you can see more of the background and more of me, and I don't feel like I'm like this. Yes, Joanne, how are you feeling this morning? I love this track. Yes, the butterflies and lavender. Great, Elena. Hello, Amelia. Good evening. Welcome to you. How are you today? Happy Friday, happy Saturday, whichever one you're celebrating, wherever you are in the world. My friends, this is the second to last Coffee with the Council reprise. I'm excited, and I'm surprised, and I'm pleased, and I have a great sense of fulfillment and accomplishment from having done this for 2 months. It's hard to believe that that it is about to complete its full course here on Insight Timer. Jack Joanne says, a tad better this morning. Still can't walk though. Sad face. Jack says, wouldn't it be wonderful if we were all together with a picnic in that field? Yeah, I know, but I'd want to make sure that somebody else has the bugs and not me. I can't stand insects. I mean, butterflies are pretty, but I don't like flies and things flying around me. I'm not much. I'm fine at the beach in certain places, but I'm not good outdoors. But it would be fun. Maybe have a little gazebo in the middle of the field, have a picnic, have a little channeling session, everybody ask questions. That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. Hey, Jacqueline, good to see you, dear. Welcome, welcome. How are you today? All right, somebody needs to find us a lavender field to have a channeling picnic. I'm warm. I think I'm going to take the top layer off. Whew. It's hot today here in southern Utah. It's already 93 degrees Fahrenheit. 93 degrees. Sweltery. There we go. I feel much better. Joanne, is Paul taking good care of you today? I'm sure he is. Southern Utah, Deborah, 93 Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's hot. He's hot. But it's nice and cool inside. Keep the AC in the low 70s, so which is perfect for me. My ideal climate to live in is 70 to 75, with evenings going down into the 50s and 60s. Greg is always hot. Thanks, Carrie. I actually run cold, believe it or not. I prefer to be warm, but my system runs cold. Joanne says yes, he always does. Only 7 a.m. here, though. Ah, we missed you, Carrie. Yes, I'm sure you meant me instead of Mr. Did you miss Mr.? We missed you, Carrie. You've been busy with your own challenges this week. Hey, Deborah. What? TY here in Northern California, 95 degrees. So we went from 63. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. We've been consistently in the 90s lately, but that's the high desert for you. Anyways, okay, where shall we start today? This is a good place to start. So for anyone, is anyone new? Is anyone a firstie? Please do say hi. We love to greet new friends that we're meeting for the first time. We call them firsties here, first timers. So please feel free to say hi in chat. Tell us where you're from so we can give you a warm, loving greeting. If not, you can hold your peace and we don't mind. It's all good. But if you are new, hi, I'm Greg Phillips. I'm a way shower. I'm a channel for the Council of Seven, which is the group of guides that I channel. The 7 represents 7 distinct energies or frequencies that they have come to share with us that are vital for the spiritual evolution of humanity. So it's really exciting. They've revealed 2 of them, the first of which is love, and the second which is unity. Now, they have not gone into much detail about unity, but what we have been doing for the last 2 months here on Insight Timer is what's called Coffee with the Council. These have been, well, in April, we did this. This is a replay version in May, but in April, we had sessions almost every single day where the council was channeling a message to us. And it became a masterclass, actually, on Is-ness, which has been a really powerful mind-shifting concept, I think, for almost all of us who've been consistently coming. And so what we're doing here in May, and we're close to wrapping it up, is it's a reprise. We're watching the replays of the videos from April, and then we're having chit chat and talking. So May has been more of like April was like a master class, and then May's been like a study group. So it's been super, super fun in that regard. Did somebody say they're new? Utah is a firstie? Utah from Finland. Oh, very, very cool. Welcome, Utah. Did I say that right? Uta. Probably Uta? How do you say it? Pronounce it Juta? Catherine's a secondie from Wisconsin. Very cool. Yes, we have firsties, we have secondies, we have, I don't know what to call the regulies. Oh, that's so nice to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being here. A secondie, I love it. Firstie and secondies. Very, very old timers. Well, for some of us, we're old timers, Carrie. Regulars, continuies, Izzies. We'll call them Izzies. They just are. You just are. You just are all wonderful. And I appreciate you being here. Yeah. So, yes, for firsties and secondies, please enjoy. Today's topic is quite fascinating. It is every moment has infinite possibilities, infinite choices. So, it's a pretty profound and deep concept. So I guess we will start to get into it. But before we get into the replay, regulies. It's cute too. Regulies with a Z. Oh, I love that, Jacqueline. Yeah, we'll come up with some sort of name. Yeah, you guys can come up with a name if you want. The council's crew or something. I don't know. What kind of people gather at a council meeting? Oh, Julia. Oh, really? Julia. Oh, very cool. Okay. So that's Finnish for Julia. Oh, that is so neat. I love learning different languages. Counselors? No, counselors are the ones who are on the council. Well, we're all on the council, but who goes to a council meeting? Or who goes, like, what kind of, counselors do attend. Anyways, we'll come up with something. Counselees. Jacqueline's loving the EEZ at the end. I do too. It's kind of fun. Anyways, my intuition says to ask for anyone who's been coming for more than one day to these lives, the council's crew. Yeah. Anyone who's been coming for more than a day. Is there anything in the concepts that you've been hearing that you're feeling challenged with, that you're struggling with, that you're not understanding or finding yourself unable to feel into it? And that's okay if there is. I'm just sort of curious if we want to take a look. Finland in the house. Indeed. It's very rare that we get two people from Finland. It's amazing. Is anyone else here from Finland? I'll have to go there someday. Upstate New Yorker. I used to be an upstate New Yorker. Jack says, acknowledging things we don't want. Pain is challenging. Yep. So pain is probably, I'm glad you brought this up, Jack. Pain is probably one of the most challenging physical experiences when it comes to practicing is-ness. And that's because of how rooted it is in the physical. Oh, Carrie says not just physical pain, but emotional as well. Emotional, yeah. For me, emotional is different. For others, it's probably different from me as well. But I think that let's just talk about physical pain for the moment, okay? Because physical pain. It's in our body, right? Physical pain can cause emotional pain, right? But emotional, it's where I'm headed with this is that it's all vibrational. So emotional pain is easier to, for me, not for everybody. Emotional pain, it's a little bit easier to make a connection between what our thoughts are and the feelings that are coming from it than what our thoughts are and the physical experience that is coming from it. That's a lot harder. Yeah, definitely. Because it's so rooted in the vibrational frequency of physical reality. But no matter what, that physical pain. So here's the process the way I understand it. We practice a certain pattern of thought or belief, and it only surfaces into the body after enough time experiencing that thought or belief, which causes an emotion that we haven't actually acknowledged ever or embraced. And what happens is it becomes a chronic pattern of thought, a chronic pattern of emotional response that is not looked at or dealt with. And then it manifests chronically into the body, or it manifests initially as a lighter physical pain. Sometimes it can be a huge, sudden, not sudden, but because there's always a buildup. The point is, when we experience a physical symptom or a physical pain, that's not brand new. That's at the tail end of a vibrational process that started with a pattern of thought. The body is just finally coming into the story, so to speak. It's coming onto the scene in a way that it's forcing us, which we don't always pay attention to, right? It's forcing us or calling, it's really not forcing, it's calling us to a greater level of awareness around that. And it becomes debilitating. So for example, I know somebody who has had to learn a lot of balance around physical activity because all of this person's, nobody here in this channel, all of this person's busyness and physical activities became a stress and pressure point based on stories of expectations and worries of not being able to get everything done. This particular person is a gardener, as one of their activities that they love to do. And when you're planting seeds, as anyone who works with flowers or does any gardening knows, there are certain times of the year that are better to plant certain kind of seeds. And in particular, spring is the most verdant time when, the soil is fresh. It's just come off of winter and it's ready. This is usually the best time. Most seeds, not all seeds, that's the best time to plant seeds. This particular person years ago used to push himself. He made the planting of the seeds more important than the care of his body. And it was all from this stress and pressure, both internal and external. And what happened is he ended up blowing out his hip. And it's been an issue ever since then. And he had to slow down. And then he was dealing with discouragement and disappointment. And he was dealing with depression for not being able to do his favorite activity and not being able to live up to these expectations. But because he has a high level of awareness, he was able to sit with it. He was able to sit with the discomfort. And yes, the symptoms still continue to flare up from here now and then, but he realized that he had to bring more awareness into his body, more awareness into his expectations. He had to let go of certain commitments that were causing the external, which is all internal anyways, because he just thought he had to do it this way in order to please and take care of other people, right? So there's a whole process there, right? The physical, his hip was the end, not the end. His hip was down the line. If you think about the series of events, it all started with a pattern of thinking. It all started with the pressure and the stress and trying to live up to expectations and trying to live up to all these commitments and pushing and forcing. It's all a belief system. It's all a pattern of thought. And then what happens? The body says, you can't push me that hard, bro. Right? And then whatever. Now that's one example. That's from stress and pressure and pushing and overdoing and not listening to the initial aches and pains and things like that. And I know his story really well because I know him really well. And I've had that same experience, not to the biggest degree that like he had to actually seek help. I haven't had to, fortunately, for my things, but I've blown my back out. I've hurt parts of my body. And I'll give you another example. When I was a programmer, I used to hold this left hand over the keyboard in this position. And it was constantly in a position. I thought I was in a constant position of readiness to type because I'm not a good typer. So I was, but it was the stress and the pressure of being ready was manifesting into my hand. And I was eventually having a lot of pain. And so I started to listen to my hand. Where's the pain exactly? Oh, okay. Why? What does it feel like? What are the muscular feel? What's the muscular feel? Oh, it's really tight. It's really taut. I'm in this constant state. I'm just using it as an example. Whether this helps or not, I don't know. I'm in this constant state of muscle tension, thinking that's a state of readiness. No, a state of readiness is a relaxed hand, ready to move. A relaxed hand, relaxing the muscles. So what I was doing was unconsciously creating a repetitive pattern of use of the muscles in my hand because I thought that's what meant having my hand ready. And my hand proved me wrong. It was like, this hurts, buddy, cut it out, right? And it took months to correct that kind of behavior. But when I did it after a couple months, any of the pain within here was all gone. And I relaxed my thinking and the pressuring that I brought awareness, I brought consciousness, I brought whatever, you could use breath, you could use whatever, into the process of actually typing. I would notice as I was typing, oh, there I go, tensing my muscles again, and then relaxing. Now that's a very specific, smaller scale example, but you can actually, Carrie says, so did we manifest that physical pain? Absolutely. If you are the creator, if you don't believe this, it's a different story. But if you believe, if you subscribe to the thought pattern as I do, the belief system as I do, that I create my reality, that everything that I experience is simply a reflection in the mirror of me, then every single physical pain, Carrie's cancer, Jack's challenges physically, Joanne's knees, they're all reflections of what's going on in here and in our vibration. They're all our own manifestations. There is no such thing as this just happening to me. You don't just get cancer. That just getting a disease or just having this problem, physical problem happen, that makes you a victim. And that, not just the victim part, because there's a lot that goes into that, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but think about the directionality. If something is happening to you, then you have no control over it. But that's not how life works. That's how a lot of people on the planet think life works. And that's the same thought pattern of when I get that car, when I get that relationship, when I get that home, when I get that my health back, alba X, Y, Z, whenever something, the not yetness, whenever something happens in the future, I will feel better. That's inside out. That's creating a dependency on externals in order to feel better, which could be called codependency on certain levels. But when we actually take and claim our responsibility for our choices, What did you have to believe in order for this to be true in your reflected reality? That's one of the hardest questions to ever ask. Debbie says, I take care of my teeth, so didn't manifest the toothache. Unbearable. I wanted to jump off a bridge. You did manifest the toothache, no matter how well you took care of it. Jack says, I completely get that. Dis-ease from unresolved stress, trauma, etc. And it doesn't even has to be stress or trauma. It can just be a pattern of thinking. The I'm not good enough thought. I'll never measure up. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too sensitive. I say that one with a little grist because that is one of the most painful, not the most, but it is a very painful bat to bludgeon ourselves with. I'm too sensitive. Where's that coming from? Where's a statement like that coming from? We borrowed it from somewhere. We stole it from somebody. We learned it from somewhere. We witnessed it somewhere. We had somebody tell us it, and it hurt so bad that we believed it. Guess what? It's not true. In fact, for anyone who's on the spiritual journey, I would hope that you're very sensitive. Because how else, if you're not very sensitive, just as that example, how else are you going to perceive that which you cannot perceive? Because if you can't see it with your eyes, you can't hear it, you can't feel it physically, how else are you going to perceive subtle energies? How do you know that the council is speaking truth? It's not because of what you see from them. It's how it feels. It's how it resonates inside you energetically. That's how you know it's speaking truth for you. Somebody else might hear the council and be like, this is a crock of poop. Because they're creating their own reality. They're bringing their own perceptions in. So, to circle back, what have you guys saying? Hey, Miran, good to see you, sweetheart. Nice to have you here. Oh, I'm happy to have you back too. Hey, Kelsey, welcome back. Carrie says, they say anger causes cancer, so am I angry? Well, they say. That's not up to them. It's up to you. Have a conversation. Create a relationship with it. Talk to the cancer every day. Hey, cancer, what's up, you little stinking shit? And use whatever language you want and see what comes out. If you're coming out with, you little stinking piece of shit, I can't stand you, I fucking hate you, excuse my language, well then, hey, your speech is reflecting the emotion that you haven't tapped into. It could be something else. What is cancer? The cells are eating away at your body. So what is eating away at you? That's just one example. This is not necessarily true. We're the ones who have to individually, introspectively, and with help from others like me or counselors or therapists or spiritual directors or whatever, but in whatever fashion, we're the ones who must do the inner investigation to find out what is at the root of the physical pain. But if you push around it, if you work around it, the one thing I do, I catch myself doing this and I always have to adjust how I feel afterwards. But if I have a body pain, I'll start compensating by using other muscles. Well, guess what? Those then start hurting. And that's just me avoiding dealing with the pain because I'm compensating by using other muscles, consciously or unconsciously. Jack says, Carrie, I believe environmental factors can cause disease too. Environmental factors can cause disease, but whose environment is it? Yours. It is a reflection of you and your beliefs. Guess what? If you believe environmental factors can cause disease, that's exactly what you're going to experience because you believe it. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying acknowledge that is the belief that is creating the receiving. Because, as Bashar says, nothing in life has any inherent meaning. Nothing. The environment, what people say, there's no meaning to it. We're the ones that assign meaning to it. We're the ones that give it significance through our mind, through our thinking. And that's what makes us so special on the planet, because we have the power of choice. We have such strong, powerful minds that we are creating our reality. Sometimes right away, and sometimes not at all. So we can look for all sorts of reasons outside of ourselves. This job was too stressful, and that caused me XYZ. This environment that I'm living in is too toxic, and that caused my XYZ. Or we can say, my perspective of this situation is what caused the XYZ. Do you see the difference? We're taking responsibility. It's part of that acknowledgement. Ah, Cancer, yes, I see you. Amelia says yes, and also repressed and unprocessed emotions get stored in the body. They do. They can manifest as disease. I believe that is true too. Absolutely. Well said, Amelia. What else we got? Jacqueline, yep, I developed cancer in my thyroid. I believe because I needed to learn to use my voice, throat chakra. Jacqueline, interesting point. Throat chakra is your voice, your communication, the expression of your feelings and your thoughts. Your communication is using the voice in relationship to other people. Yeah, absolutely. Hereditary? I don't believe in hereditary. I don't believe in genetic either. Because what is it? It's still our life, our experience. Maybe we did get some genes physically from our parents, but it doesn't dictate our reality. We do. Consciously or unconsciously, friends, that's the ticker. Whether you are conscious of your creations or unconscious of your creations, you're still creating it. Oh, you guys are really typing on this. I must have keyed into a hot topic. Many people are born with genetic abnormalities. Well, that's what the medical profession are calling it, Catherine, just because that is the only way they can explain it, because they're being scientific. But what is a spiritual explanation for a genetic abnormality? For example, kids that are autistic. Look up Abraham's explanation. Go and find a video about Abraham's explanation of autism. It will blow your mind, and I will share my paraphrase of it. Autistic people come into the world with such a powerful intention for freedom that nobody in the culture can control them. And they come in with whole new perceptions of what reality is like, right? That amazing video of the guy who they did one pass in a helicopter over Paris, and then over a period of 24 hours or a weekend or something, he drew on this massive wall to scale exact detail of the city with a pencil. And he was autistic. That is a heightened level of perception for that particular focus, right? It's when we start to actually ask some deeper questions about this stuff, instead of just taking it for granted and taking science and medicine at their word, or even taking a therapist or somebody else, it's our lives, my friends. And this is the process of our expansion. 90% of the people with cancer are considered people pleasers. I don't know. I also hate statistics. I mean, I love statistics because they're fun, but I also don't. What? Statistics are weird. They're based on a subset of people, not everybody, and they're not based on me. Gary's saying, freaking hell yeah. Get the fuck out of me. Sorry, I swore again. My apologies. I'm not supposed to swear on these channels. Anyways, yes, so Carrie, there's your language with your cancer. That's your indication. Debbie asks, I wonder what I'm doing to cause psoriasis. Ask the psoriasis. Study the psoriasis, not from a medical perspective, but learn from the psoriasis. What is psoriasis about? I don't finally know. The skin is blemishing, is creating whatever it's doing, right? It's what is it about? Aggravated skin, agitated skin. What is aggravating you? What is agitating you? What is on the surface? Skin is on the surface, right? Skin is on the surface. Think about the dynamics, my friends. Think about the variables and the factors that are at play. When your foot hurts, when your shoulder hurts, think about, well, what is this pain? If I were talking with this and having a conversation with it, what kind of words would I use? Would I be like, oh, it feels so restricted. Why are you there? You're weighing me down. Oh, what pattern of thought is weighing me down? That's all the shoulder hurting is saying in that moment. If you're identifying with a weighed down feeling, an overburdened feeling, an overwhelmed feeling, that can manifest in our body. The body is being of service to us to tell us a little bit more. It's unfortunate that it gets that far. We'd like to catch it sooner than having it physically manifest, right? Ideally. But it's still going to happen. It might have been part of our soul agreement. Why does somebody come in with a genetic abnormality? Because they came in to this lifetime with a desire to such a deep and powerful desire to expand that they immediately manifested one of the most challenging contrasts possible. So why is Carrie experiencing cancer? Why is JoJo having trouble with her knees? Not for any other reason except that their very souls have a powerful intention to expand through massive contrast. Think about that for a moment while I try to catch up on chat. Pam says, we talk, so do our bodies. Well said, Pam. Debbie says, how do you get your bad back, Greg? Was it lifting things? No. See, again. Okay. I know I'm being, the scrolling. Debbie, the lifting things didn't cause the bad back. It just catalyzed the physical experience of it. I don't have a bad back. I've thrown it out before, but I don't have a bad back. My dad lived his entire life believing he had a bad back. And guess what? He always had a bad back. I've thrown my back out several times, but I don't identify with having a bad back. So I don't have a bad back. I just throw it out every once in a while. We're going to get hurt, my friends. We're going to experience physical pain. We cannot avoid it. And maybe that's the point of physical pain, because we cannot avoid it the way we avoid our thinking and our feelings. Think about that for a moment. I've never said that before. That's actually a really powerful insight. Kelsey came in with a pain in her neck and shoulders, sitting with it. Talk to it, my friend. Have a conversation with it. It's not the enemy. It's not the enemy. It doesn't even want to be avoided. What if the pains we're experiencing is just an aspect of ourself, a reflection of ourself that is crying out for love and recognition? And I don't mean from some deep-seated blah, 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 but just that part of ourselves that's like the part of ourselves that can feel overwhelmed or overburdened or saddened by certain parts of our life. It just wants acknowledgement. Just like us as people, it just wants acknowledgement. I acknowledge my pain. Now have a relationship with it. Learn from it. Form a friendship with it. It may be tenable and tenuous and difficult at first. Mira says, kids who get disease when they're young or been born with it, is that their soul wanting this? It's not about wanting. It's about everything that we experience is in service of our expansion, period. And we allow it in. We may manifest it from a soul contract, as to what, Mira, what you're sort of alluding to, I think. We may manifest it as part of a soul contract, or it may just be part or a variation of a reflection of an intention that we set before we came into this body. We might have come, I'm pretty positive that I set a very powerful intention as a freedom seeker. I do not like people telling me what to do. I do not like people bossing me around. There's a very strong resistance to that. I didn't like my father's criticisms. As a projector, it's very important that my gifts and my abilities and who I am gets recognized before I can actually work with somebody or actually even have a relationship with somebody. There has to be a recognition. I'm not good at overdoing or performing in order to try to get recognized. I can't do that. I've had to find my own way through a lot of this without external help. Now, thank God for channels like Abraham and my dear beloved Dr. Peebles, and now the council, because I'm learning so much more from these groups of beings. So, yeah. Debbie says, yes, that makes sense, that we cannot avoid it. Buddhism says it's part of being human, as well as sickness and aging and death. Jacqueline's a projector too. Nice to meet you, fellow projector. So's Carrie. Yep. Kelsey, I'm dancing softly with my friend in pain now. I'm in that field behind you with the butterflies. Oh, that's lovely, Kelsey. I love that for you. I will give you another story. We haven't even watched the replay yet, so please stick around. I will give you another story. About little under 30 years ago, I lived in San Francisco, and I was in the Five Rhythms dancing community there. I lived in Marin, actually, Marin County. And I was at a workshop, and I had the most excruciating back pain ever. And I didn't want to miss the workshop because it was my community. It was I took that dance practice was a big part of my spiritual practice. Movement was important to me back then. And so I think it was like a 5-day workshop or whatever, or 3 or 4 day, whatever. I came to the first day or something, but then woke up with a massive back pain, could barely move, could barely drive the second day. And I ended up laying on the floor on my, as best I could, watching everybody dance and listening to the music and listening to the instruction and trying to practice the practice without being able to move. About 2/3 of the way through the day, something swelled up inside of me and was just like, I need to move. No matter how much this hurts, I need to move. And I started to get up, and the teacher and some friends were like, whoa, careful, easy. And I'm like, I have to move. I have to move. I have to move. I just kept saying, I have to move. Because one of the things that dance practice, the 5 Rhythms of Gabriel Roth, is dance as spiritual practice. One of the things that taught me was that if we do not let things move through us, they get stuck. And I could feel the stuckness, and that was behind the pain. And a friend, a dear beloved friend, I will never, ever forget her. A dear beloved friend came and held my arms to make sure that I could stand up. And I moved as gently and as slowly and as painfully as I could. And it was painful. And she held space for me, so I felt safe. And about 5 minutes in, I gave myself over to the practice, which is the same as like what we do when we meditate, the same as what we do when we even sit in, there's a practice aspect when we sit and listen to the council, the same as what we do when we sit and listen to beautiful music like from Gunther or Blossom or anybody else who plays music on this app, right? I sat in the process. I surrendered to the process, and within about 10 minutes, I started bawling my eyes out. heaving sobs. My body was heaving. It was convulsing from the sobbing. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And nobody tried to fix me. Nobody tried to make it better. Everybody simply just let it be. And this is what the council is talking about. We acknowledge the pain, we acknowledge the emotion, we acknowledge the thought, we acknowledge whatever, and we just allow it to be. We let it move. We move with it. And then what happens is release. Anything else is resistance. And by the end of that day on the workshop, back pain was just a small, minor soreness. A small, minor soreness where for 2/3 of the day, it had completely debilitated me and I was literally barely able to move. Right? I haven't thought about this in years. This is a powerful example of what's possible. And if I can do it, there's nothing special. I mean, there is special about me. There's just as much that's special about all of you. But if I can do that, you can do it too. And it starts with not over-identifying with what is happening. Carrie is not her cancer. Joanne is not her hurt knees. Whoever said they had psoriasis, you are not your psoriasis. These are they are part of you, but they're not you. You are an eternal, unbreakable, indestructible energy that is always connected and part of source and love. So nothing can destroy who you really are. Release what no longer serves us, Jacqueline says. What we resist persists. Thanks so much for the donations, guys. Wow, that must have been a really inspiring story. Well, that was a fascinating conversation. Are we ready for the replay? Raise your hand if you're ready for the replay, because we haven't even gotten into it. Wow. We are spiritual beings having a human experience? Yes, I would take that thought even farther. The human experience is part of our spiritual beingness. It's not separate from who we are spiritually. Jack says it was a powerful conversation. Thank you, Greg, and everyone. I hope this helps you guys. Yes, and Jacqueline says in caps, and thank you all you wonderful, lovely, amazing, awesome people with big hearts. Absolutely. You are all awesome and amazing. You're welcome, Debbie. She said, thank you for challenging us. Challenge yourself. Be curious about your thinking, about your beliefs. If you believe that physical maladies are all coming from outside of you, where is your power? You have no control over any of that from that belief and that perspective. Well, we have been conditioned, Jacqueline, through our lives, but it's also by design. How else do we learn to grow spiritually if we don't bump up against kind of the stuff that I'm bringing up and challenging you with? Where do we learn from? What opportunities occur? Maybe what's going on with people's physical maladies, physical experiences, is it's just bringing up a deeper, more profound, more challenging opportunity to investigate our beliefs. What if it's as simple as that? If we don't add any more significance to it than that, then it makes it a lot easier to befriend it. It makes it a lot easier to converse with it. It's just interesting. It's very, very interesting. Bazinga. Aha, would you aha, Carrie? Even the belief that we have been conditioned throughout our lives, it's not like we're sponges taking everything in. At some point, we make a conscious decision. We see somebody behave a certain way, and we just assume that that is what I should do and what I should believe. But as we grow and we get older and we become more aware spiritually, we can stop and go, well, that's how my dad or my mom or my grandma or my friends or my fellow students in grade school did it. It doesn't work for me anymore. How do I want to do it? What do I want to believe about society? What do I want to believe about myself? It's such a powerful thing to say, what do I want to believe? Carrie said that we are more powerful than we realize, and that it is simpler than we realize. And that's the other beautiful thing about the Council's teachings with Is-ness. Experiencing this stuff can be far simpler than what we do with it in our mind. Jacqueline, so darn simple, so often easier said than done. Exactly. So powerful, and yes, so friggin' interesting. And we are limiting ourselves. Again, yes, we are, but don't use that as a stick to beat up on yourself. It's just part of what is. The limitations are by design, because if we don't have limitations, if we don't have contrast, do people understand what I mean by contrast? If you do not understand contrast, please say, I don't. Right, Carrie, just realize that fact. Ooh, bazinga. I love it. Yes, Jacqueline loves Carrie's ahas. I love Carrie's ahas too. Okay, so no one's saying they don't understand contrast. Contrast is part of life. It's the natural design. We can get upset about it. We can push against it. We can rail against it. We can create resistance around it. It exists as simply as an opportunity for expansion. Because when we don't have contrast, there's nothing that we rub up against to smooth our edges. There's nothing that we rub up against to figure out, to realize, oh, this is an old belief that I no longer want to believe, or I have a new preference around something that I didn't have before. What is the point of every breakup in a relationship? It's not to hurt us. It's to simply help us get more clarity about what we prefer and want from relationships. That's it. That's why people break up. It's a lighter, softer approach, isn't it? Johnny doesn't like contrast. I do not mean duality by contrast, Jacqueline. That is a very good question. So what is contrast? Contrast is simply the experience of when we experience something, when we're not in alignment with our higher self's perspective, then we experience contrast. If our higher self, like the council, says, I love you, I celebrate you, I honor you, everything about you, and we have an experience and we're like, I'm a schmuck, I'm an idiot, I suck at this, I whatever, we feel even worse because because the thought that we just had right there, I suck, I'm no good, I'm not worthy, is in direct contrast to how our higher self sees us. Therefore, we feel bad. That's contrast. So any experience you have that you find challenging, that you find that there's an emotional charge with, that lowers your vibration, that weighs you down, that's just contrast, right? Then the question is, how do we respond to that? We can respond with massive amounts of definitions, explanations, theories, whatever. But if we just respond to it from a place of Is-ness, I see you, contrast. I see you. Thank you for being there. I'm not happy with you right at this moment. I may never be happy with you at this moment, but thank you for being there, because you are being there in service of my expansion. And the number one thing that I care the most about in my spiritual path is my growth. or whatever your thing is. That's mine. That's why I'm on the spiritual path, is to grow, is to expand. Well, also because I want to learn how to time travel, shift time realities, and all a bunch of other more cosmic woo-woo kind of things. But as a human, from a human experience, yeah. Anyways, let's get into this has been fascinating. Thank you for sharing conversation about this with me. Contrast is in life. Indeed, Carrie. Does that make more sense, Jacqueline? Evil and good are duality. Yin and yang, that's duality. That's not contrast. Let's do it. Okay, my dear beloved friends. Let us see what the console. Does that make sense, Carrie? We may experience contrast from duality, because duality is just a perspective. Duality is just up here. So we may have a experience of contrast from duality, but contrast isn't duality. That's a little bit more of a clarification. Contrast is when our focus is in direct contrast. That's where the word comes from our higher self's perspective. And our higher self's perspective is always the most beneficial, the most loving, the most unconditional, the greatest well-being, the most happiest, the highest vibration possible for us. Without that anchor point, we can't have contrast. It's part of the design. So here is our higher self anchoring powerfully in the higher vibrations for us, being that lighthouse and that beacon. And then we have a moment that brings us down, that creates contrast. We have a pattern of thought or a way of focusing on something that creates contrast. And in that moment, we know that we're out of alignment through whatever means, however it feels, what we're thinking, what somebody says to us, whatever helps us recognize we're out of alignment, that's contrast. And then here's our higher self lovingly, unconditionally, and gently calling us into realignment from that contrast. It is really beautiful. Yes, thank you for the topic. It's a really powerful topic. Jack, I have a feeling you might need to take a rest before you try and transcribe this one. A lot came through. All right, friends, let's see what the council has to share with us today from April 29th. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, our dear beloved ones. We greet you from the energetic realms where we love and celebrate every single aspect of what you do. Every time you lift your pinky. Please let me know, because we had sound issues earlier. Beverages. Okay. You take a morsel of food when you... Oh boy. All right, one sec. Here we go. Take two. Yeah, OBS is great, but I don't know what it just did there. Also, I had a Windows update. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, our dear beloved ones. Please say yes or no. We greet you from the energetic realms where we love and celebrate every single aspect of what you do. Every time you lift your pinky. Jack just wrote a long thing. Okay, good. Sounds fixed. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your help with that. Oh no, JC has it. JC says, I like the word contrast. I'm remembering when I'd work in a dark room developing film. We'd use light, dark, and physical elements to create art. My shadow self and my higher self create a lot of beautiful things. Uncomfortable feelings, that contrast, but it's great when it teaches you who you truly are. That is so beautifully said, JC. Thank you. I love that. That's awesome. Okay, here we go. Enjoy the council. You take a sip of your delicious beverages every time you take a morsel of food, when you walk your beloved pets and critters, when you listen to the wind gently whispering past your ear. Every single moment of your life is something that we love and celebrate. And indeed, this is part and parcel of what we wish to speak to you of today. the thrill of existence. You may not quite comprehend yet why we love and celebrate each and every single little thing that occurs to you, but this is what we are going to talk about today. You may think of it as the joy for life, if you will, or the, how does the French say it, the joie de vivre, indeed. But we like to say the thrill for existence. Now, the first thing is, we mentioned this yesterday in our messaging, and many of you may have been here. You may recall a little bit of what we said, even though our message yesterday was about something else. We are bringing this to your attention today because it truly is at the root and essence of Is-ness. Why even embrace Is-ness? Why even consider Is-ness as a concept? Why even consider the value of being in your I amness, of being in a state of Is-ness? Why? Why bother, dear friends? Have you stopped in this last month to ask yourself that question? Why even bother being in Is-ness? That is a really good question. Has anyone stopped to ask themselves that? Something to think about while you listen. Indeed, take a moment and consider that. From our perspective here in the energetic realms and beyond, at the higher frequencies that you have not yet learned or adapted or trained your minds and hearts to tune into, from our perspective, it is because Is-ness is everything, and everything is filled with joy. There is a thrill in everything. Now, when we say thrill, or when we speak of joy, or when we speak of passion, we are not speaking of a sense of fulfillment for your life purpose or your particular calling. No, we are talking about the essential nature that is built in to every single experience that you have. Yes, every single experience you have, even the ones where you immediately respond and react and come from a negative feeling or a lower vibration, even the ones that you dislike, even the ones that you wish were not present, the ones that didn't happen, aren't happening, won't happen, etc. Yes, indeed, every single one of those has built-in thrill to it. Now, you might be saying to us, but counsel, I don't see thrill in this particular issue or challenge that I'm having. There's no thrill at all. In fact, it's quite annoying, it's aggravating, it's frustrating. I'm discouraged, I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling confused. Where is the thrill in that? There's no thrill in that. Well, dear friends, we're here to inform you that all possibilities are built into every single life experience. All possibilities. Consider for a moment that if the universe, if dear source, if all that is, were to exclude certain possibilities from every single instance, occurrence, happening, an event, experience in your life, then indeed, source itself, love, indeed, the universe itself, would not be behaving unconditionally towards you. It would be filtering your experience, and then you would not have agency. You would not have the power of choice. You would be basically fed something very similar to what your news agencies do quite often. They feed you what they want you to hear. Now, we will not get into that because we only care really, truly about what is happening and coming from source. So source sits in its beautiful existence, all that is, everything, and all is one, and it simply watches and observes and learns from your experiences. Oh, there is so-and-so. They're having a difficult experience. They're having a challenging experience. There's somebody else. They're having a joyful experience. Isn't it fascinating how each and every single human being has been granted infinite possibilities in each particular individual experience, and therefore they will always and forever, eternally, have the power of choice, the right to choose. So indeed, dear friends, if every single possibility is designed into every experience that you have, if you're following where we're going right now, please, if you're not, we can speak more about this later. But if you're following where we're going, track this as best you can, dear friends, dear ones. Pay close attention. If every single experience you have is designed to hold infinite possibilities, and you, indeed, which is true, have infinite possible choices regarding your response to that, then indeed can you see how there is thrill in everything. Now, at first, you might be thinking of the word thrill. I'm going to point something out here, because this is very subtle. Source loves us so much that it's so unconditional that it allows it allows infinite possibilities in our human experience. If it were to not allow that, it wouldn't be all that is. It wouldn't be source. It would be limiting itself, right? And so our focus can be on believing our limitations or looking for the limitlessness, the limitless possibilities in all situations. And we're very quick as humans, our mind, we should say, is very quick to find the limitations, because the mind is built to put things in boxes, to categorize, to systematize, to investigate. So the mind is built, it's designed that way. It's beautiful in its function in that regard. But when it comes to the all that is, we have to expand that. So why do we limit our thinking about something we're experiencing if every single experience we have is designed with infinite possibilities in it? Why do we subscribe to one specific or one or two specific ways of thinking about it? Think for a moment, what if you could access all the possibilities? Of course, who knows if that's possible as a human. Maybe that's what enlightenment is accessing all the possibilities in any given experience. Maybe that's enlightenment. But what if you could? What if you could even just process or recognize or perceive a handful of those? You guys might remember this quote that I gave. I don't remember where I got it, but Susan Sage, I don't remember who said it, but Susan Sage shared the quote with me. She's a fellow teacher here in Insight Timer. There was some sort of scientific analysis done, and this quote basically says, any given moment, there are 11 million different perceptions, different things that are perceptible around us in our experience, but that our brain only processes 40. 40 out of 11 million possibilities. Now, I think there's infinite possibilities because I believe what the council's saying, right? So just think about that for a moment. The next time you're, for example, to our earlier conversation, the next time you're experiencing your physical pain, you don't have to change your perspective on it, but at least acknowledge it's just one perspective in the universe. It's one of infinite possibilities. And hopefully, maybe just the recognition, the acknowledgement, right now, this is the perspective I'm having towards my pain. This is the perspective I'm having towards this individual. This is the perspective I'm having towards this life situation. Just acknowledge, this is my perspective right now, and I acknowledge that this is just one perspective in the universe, one perspective from the pool of limitless possibilities. Oh my God, I feel better already, and I haven't even changed my perspective. Why do I feel better? Because I know there are other choices available to me. Because I'm acknowledging that there are other perspectives open to me at this situation. I don't know what they are, but it's nice to know that there are other options, right? So maybe there can be some relief there. Just wanted to throw that in. from a quote-unquote perspective of positive emotion. We're not talking about that. This particular thrill is the very frequency and vibration that is woven throughout your entire life, that is woven through your whole life experience. Every single experience you have had carries the highest possible frequency, for that is the only way in which all experiences can hold infinite possibilities. Think about that for a moment. Every single experience you have holds within it the potential for any specific frequency, for you to experience a spectrum of vibrations. It's not just one thing. Your pain may be so horrible, or your emotional challenges may feel so bad that it's not just that one vibration. That very experience holds infinite possibilities, all possible vibrations. Why? Because everything occurs in the moment. If everything occurs in the moment, then every vibration and frequency is accessible in the moment. And even the ones that we experience a low vibration or a lower frequency, it means that all the entire spectrum or circuit, whatever, I don't know which shape it would take, but the entire spectrum of frequencies is accessible to us. It's available to us, but we have to aim our mind at it, so to speak. Were each experience to vibrate at a lower frequency, it would not be able to hold all possibilities, only the ones that exist at the lower frequencies. Now, at first, you might be thinking of the thrill, the word thrill, from a quote-unquote perspective of positive emotion. That. We're not talking about that. This particular thrill is the very frequency and vibration that is woven throughout your entire life, that is woven through your whole life experience. Every single experience you have had carries the highest possible frequency, for that is the only way in which all experiences can hold infinite possibilities. Were each experience to vibrate at a lower frequency, it would not be able to hold all possibilities, only the ones that exist at the lower frequencies. But when you are holding a higher vibration, a higher frequency, when you are recognizing that innate nature of every single experience you have to be designed to hold the higher frequency, to have the higher frequencies flowing through it, to have all of that beautiful energy, then you will stop. One day you will stop, and even if you have an initial negative, quote-unquote, emotional response to a particular happening, event, or occurrence, you will find yourself suddenly thinking, oh, this is part of the divine. This life experience is part of the divine, and within that recognition, dear friends, you will feel the thrill. This will not be elation. This will not be feeling like joy, although at times it will. At times it might have elation. This will be a pure and complete recognition of the is-ness and eventually the oneness of all things. And so this is where we are speaking from. This is the perspective that we hold regarding thrill of existence. Existence itself is thrilling. Why? Because it holds infinite possibilities. Where else in your life have you ever experienced infinite possibilities? In every single interaction you have with other human beings, indeed, there are infinite possibilities, but when you look around you, much of your world is reflecting limitations to you. And yet, life was not designed that way. Life on planet Earth was designed with infinite possibilities because it has to have infinite possibilities in order for you to have true and complete power of choice. Would you like your power of choice to be removed? No, we think not. We think once you begin to understand how important your power of choice is, the single most important power you could ever have, this is what all the teachers and gurus throughout time have been meaning when they talk about empowering yourself, taking your power back. It is simply recognizing and exercising your power of choice. And dear friends, when you do this more consistently, when you do this on a regular basis, when you remember and recognize and exercise that power of choice, then you will begin to recognize and see this, what we call the thrill of existence. You will see a negative experience, or an experience that you had previously defined as negative, an experience that you had created or assigned a significance to that was not pleasurable, shall we say, or not enjoyable or not wanted. And you will look at it and you will go, amazing. I'm beginning to see all the possibilities here. And when you begin to see other possibilities outside and separate of the definition and the meaning that you originally gave such an experience, you open your heart and you open your mind to the true nature of life, to all that is. And when you do that, dear friends, you begin to feel the sweetness. You begin to feel a sense of depth, a profundity, if you will. You begin to feel a sense of expansiveness. You begin to feel that you are not one small, insignificant soul in the grand scheme of things. You are indeed an important cog. A beautiful aspect. A vital, interwoven perspective of which there are hundreds and billions of perspectives on your planet, and every single one is valid from the perspective of businesses, valid from the perspective of Source, for this is how Source learns and grows and expands. And dear friends, this is how you learn and grow and expand as well, for it is your very own expansion of your awareness, your very own expansion of your beingness. Every single time you have a shift, even if it is a little baby iota worth of a shift, or if it is a grand aha, every single one of these experiences expands the universe itself. You are such an important part of all that is. Your very existence is deemed worthy by all of us in the non-physical. And that is the singular, only perspective that we ever hold. The beauty of your existence, the pure, essential nature of who you are. For you are not this body, dear friends. The body is simply your soul focusing its energy down into the lower, more physical, third dimension realities, vibrations, frequencies. Indeed, your very existence is so precious and beautiful to us. This is why every single time we greet you this last month, that we have said that we love and honor and celebrate. Mostly we say love and celebrate, but we also do honor your very existence. For dear friends, you chose this existence. You may not realize this, you may not understand this, you may never have heard this before, you may not even believe in reincarnation, but you chose to be here, and you chose to be here at this particular time on planet Earth, and you chose to commune with us. And we, of course, cooperated and co-created this with you. Maybe cooperation is the wrong word, but it was the first one that came through linguistically. It is not really a sense of cooperation, it is truly more of a co-creation, a communal thing, if you will. But indeed, your very growth and expansion has brought us forth. And for this, we thank you, for it is such a joy to be able to communicate with you through our dear beloved channel, Greg. And we do wish that at some point we will begin to speak more of other things. But for now, we will wrap up this topic for today. Indeed, your April Coffee with the Council will be ending tomorrow, and we are very excited to bring about the final message that we have for you. We are not even telling Greg what it is, so it will be, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, a beautiful surprise for you all. So indeed, dear friends, if you have any questions about this topic, please do feel free to ask them of our dearest Greg. And in fact, we may speak more of this tomorrow, and there will be plenty of other opportunities. Now, if you are feeling shy about asking a particular question, know that your guides and us as well are always with you and always listening. So you simply must get into a state of meditation. Do your meditation for a good 15, 20 minutes until you begin to feel a calmness and a stillness in your mind, and then simply think of us or think of your guides and ask the question. And dear one, trust that you will receive an answer. You may not receive it immediately. No insistence, dear friends. No insistence on an answer, but ask from your heart, and eventually you will receive an answer. And keep yourselves open to the infinite possibilities of how that answer may come to you. It may not be through words. It may not be a channeled experience, if you will. It may be simply recognizing imagery in your life. It may be replicating numbers, which is something that many people are thrilled about in your life experience. It may be any particular sign or symbol, but indeed, ask from your heart after moments of meditation, from a still mind. Ask from your heart, and you will receive your answer. We guarantee it, and trust that it will come, no matter how long it may seem that it's taking. Dear ones, we will leave you with this for now. Do try to reflect on the thrill of existence. Dear friends, you may not agree with us, but we are telling you this is how the energetic mechanism of life is actually designed. This is the energy behind all that is. This is the energy of every single one of your experiences. And if you so wish to tune yourself to it, you just simply need to begin to look for those infinite possibilities. We strongly invite and encourage the continual perspective of looking for beneficial outcomes in every single experience. But if that is too much of a stretch for you at first, simply look for other possibilities. If you have an experience and you are like, I do not like this, stop for a moment and think, well, the council told us that there are infinite possibilities and infinite possible perspectives related to every single experience I have. And so right now I am holding one particular perspective, one possibility. I wonder what the others are. All you need, dear friends, is a curious mind and a curious open heart, and you will begin to experience some of the most amazing expansion you have ever known. Now, indeed, allow yourself integration time for this message, for there's a lot that we have conveyed energetically, and it does take a while for the body and the mind to catch up with where you are energetically. So we will leave you with this. We love you. We appreciate you. We thank you for your very presence, your willingness to be here on planet Earth and here in our community with you. We love you, and we will see you again very soon. Wow. Holy smokes. Jacqueline, most amazing expansion, quote unquote. Be curious and open. Yeah, be curious. Be curious. This one's really powerful. I'm not sure what else to say. You guys have anything? I feel like this one, I'm glad we have a weekend. I'm glad we have a weekend to let this integrate, because this is, yeah, the thrill. There's a thrill in all that is. The impression I'm getting, and I kind of feel like this is something to drill down on some more, because even I feel like I'm scratching the surface of it and don't quite entirely get it. But I feel like the council is saying, yeah, that one has me really thinking too, Carrie. I feel like the council is saying they're thrilled, right? So, okay, this is coming through. We as humans often experience a very conditional sense of thrill, right? Carrie's not thrilled about her cancer. What if she was? Why is the council thrilled about Carrie's cancer? Sorry to keep using that as an example, Carrie, but that's what's coming to mind. Although I'm not really sorry. I think it's relevant for you and for other people. Why is the council thrilled about something that we would assign a very bad meaning to? That is something. Why does Source thrill at every single experience we have? Carrie says, because it's an opportunity. Jojo says, definitely really thinking, struggling, I guess, too. I can imagine that this would be very challenging, or not very challenging, but I imagine that this will be a struggle for our minds. Even I can sense into a glimpse at it, but I can't see the whole thing. This is much bigger than the words that the council is using. Jacqueline says, we as humans often experience a very conditional sense of thrill. I think that's how you said it. Yes, we as humans often experience a very conditional sense of thrill. We're only usually thrilled by things that we like, that things that we prefer, but things that we want. What the council is saying is that because of the vibrational position that they hold for us, they're thrilled with everything. It's almost like they're thrilled simply because something exists. There's more to it, I think. I'm sensing that there's more to it, right? Someone's challenge, someone's difficult experience, someone's positive experience, somebody's joyful experience, somebody's sad experience, another individual's angry experience. It's all thrilling to the council. Why? Because it is at the root of expansion, because every single experience is infused with the potentiality of limitless possibilities, which means that every time we have an experience, it's possible for us to choose differently and therefore expand, grow, change our alignment, shift. Think about it. If a negative experience only held within it the possibility of negative experience, what value would it have? It has to hold all possibilities. Otherwise, we can't make the shift. Otherwise, we can't find a new perspective. Otherwise, we can't heal. There has to be infinite possibilities for infinite probabilities for infinite possible outcomes. They all exist in the same experience. It's our job to, not job, but it's our task, not even task. It's our joy. It's our opportunity to explore all the possibilities that we can. Carrie says, the opportunity for me to show others that I'm strong, keep positive no matter what challenges I'm going through. Yes, but yes, true. But there's still some struggle in that, Carrie. That's another perspective. Great. Fantastic. You just keep looking for other possibilities. Keep looking for other possibilities. And that is how we walk the journey from contrast to the experience of contrast to the experience of alignment. And it's not linear. It goes all over the place. Yes, very good use of that. Yes, Jacqueline, maybe just because it's just miraculous that it all exists. Very well said, Jacqueline. Oh my God. Jacqueline nailed it. Ding, ding, ding. Hearts for Jacqueline. Maybe because it's just miraculous that it all exists. Yeah, that we get to be in these human bodies and go through all these emotions. We're not in the human body. The human body even itself is a reflection of our energetic self. But yes, I get what you're saying. Absolutely. Yes, Jacqueline, says Carrie. Love it. Kelsey says, perhaps because we have a negative bias, that when we can acknowledge that bias is the invitation for co-creation. Yeah, I love that too. Power of choice, new doorway. Love it, Kelsey. Yeah. Jacqueline, and we, all of it, the lows and the highs, like you said, we need contrast to learn to grow. All things are possible. And we feel off of all of it. Jacqueline says, okay, got it. JC, there's a value there. I guess they're seeing the infinite impact. Yeah, they are, JC. I think you're right. They're seeing the infinite impact, and they're inviting us to at least step into that realm. We could just tip our baby toe in if we want. We don't have to throw our whole body in, but they're inviting us to tap into the realm of infinite possibilities. And I believe they said that is, let me check. Yes, even just an iota's minimal beginning understanding of this concept is the beginning of tapping into the frequency of unity. That's really wild. That at the root of the root of the energy, the frequency of unity, is at least a beginning understanding of limitless possibilities, of seeing each experience as holding space for, potentiality for limitless possibilities. When we begin to crack that open and even just dip our toe in the water of that, wow, I don't even know what comes from that. That's kind of exciting to me. The iceberg of possibilities. Indeed. Indeed. Iceberg's a good example, right? Because the majority of an iceberg is usually underwater, not visible, which is why they can crush ships so easily. My friends, this has been truly lovely once again to gather with you. This is the second last one, the second last reprise, and the second last Coffee with the Council on Insight Timer before it moves to another platform. I am so thrilled, as usual, to be here with you guys. I'm glad I feel better today, enough to be present for this for a whole hour and a half. We went a whole hour and a half today. If you have not followed me yet, here's the punch card, the pop-up for that. Please do consider following me. We're getting closer to 1,000. It's crazy. I love it. So that's the follower, the profile punch card. Everything else you want to know about me, whatever else I'm doing, going to be doing some new stuff in June. It'll all be accessible through my teacher link. If you're wanting to sign up for Monday's final celebratory, maybe we'll make a little party out of it. There's the sign up for Monday's live stream. Does this resonate with me deep within my heart? That was a really beautiful one. That's their wrap up on the lessons on Is-ness. And I'm really excited because I don't know what topic the council is going to talk about yet next. Coffee with the Council will continue, but not on Insight Timer. If you want to know more, please reach out to me through whatever means you're comfortable with so that you can stay in the loop. Otherwise, I'm going to reduce my number of live streams in June on Insight Timer. I will probably, I don't know how many I'm going to do. I haven't figured that out yet. I'm going to take a slight break next week and have some time off. But I'm going to return with live streams. I'll be doing readings, and I've got this really fun idea called Spiritual Snacks for Soulful Seekers. It's a whole new take on readings, where instead of asking a question, you give a topic or a theme or a concept, and we put that on the wheel, and then the universe picks, and then the council responds about that particular concept or topic. So instead of asking a question, you throw out a topic. So yeah, that does sound juicy, doesn't it, Carrie? So instead of asking a question about what do I do about this particular physical pain, you just throw out the topic of physical pain. You throw out the topic of heartbreak. You throw out the topic of whatever topic, right? We put the topics on the wheel, and then what we'll do, because these aren't there can be a topic related to a personal situation. Obviously, please feel free to do that, but you wouldn't be asking a question. You'd be asking, it's a different intention energetically. If you could feel into this, I can feel the difference. When you're asking a me question, right? That's fine too. But when you're talking about the topic, you're sort of opening it up. You're saying, I want to know the limitless possibilities about this topic, for example. Just one example. Spiritual snacks for soulful seekers. Yeah, that's what I said, Jacqueline. Spiritual snacks for soulful seekers. So that's probably, thank you, Jojo. I love the idea too. That's probably what I'm going to do, because when you think about it, whenever you're asking a personal question, it's really about that topic, right? Or a concept you're struggling with, or a belief, right? Which has a topic, which has a theme. Yeah, super, super juicy. Debbie, have to go. It's bedtime. All right, my dear. Sleep tight. Thanks so much, everyone, particularly Pam, who has helped me significantly twice during these sessions. Awesome. I wonder if Pam stuck around. Anyways, dear ones, final punch card. If you feel so called, if you have found this incredibly helpful, insightful, moving, heart-opening, having a breakthrough, whatever, and you feel inspired to share your abundance with me and offer a pay what you wish donation, please feel free to do so. I love them. They're so great. And they're not required. They're just awesome to see. It's a great form of recognition. Yes, sleep well, Debbie. Thank you for being here, my friends. Wow, we went long today. We covered a lot. I think I'm going to need a nap. I'm going to need a nap. I can feel it. I love you guys so much. I love what we're doing here. And I just want to reiterate one important thing. You're not just receiving this information, my friends. You're not just listening. You're anchoring these lessons in your beingness and thus anchoring them for the collective. That's huge. It's huge. So you are, even in your learning from the council, our learning from the council, we're anchoring the concept of is-ness into the collective. That feels, that's thrilling. No matter how much we understand or don't understand about this, that's thrilling. That's kind of exciting. It's also intriguing that this coffee with the council is actually serving a purpose bigger and above and beyond just our individual learnings, just our individual ahas. Every time we're understanding something new that the council's teaching, we're anchoring that into the collective. That is super, super cool. I love that. It is thrilling, Jacqueline. All right, dear ones, have a great weekend. You know how to reach me if you need to, or if you don't know, look at my profile. And I will send you away. Look at this beautiful, let me get out of the way for a second. Look at this beautiful field of lavender. And look at the sunset or the sunrise in the back. I love it. I think this might be one of my new favorites. All right, dear ones, much love to you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. We'll see you later. I'll see you on Monday. Come ready to celebrate. Come ready to have a party. Come ready to enjoy whatever the council shares with us next and whatever is coming for the future. So much love to all. Are you slowly dancing in the yeah. Oh, Kelsey's still dancing, I bet. Yes. All right, dear ones. We'll see you later. Have a great weekend.